Hello, today we're going to continue on from the median into what we call a box plot. And using the same data set that we used at looking at the mean, the median, and the mode, we're going to look at a box plot. A box plot uses five distinct numbers, and those numbers deal with the smallest number, the largest number, the median, which is the Q2, and that's the median of the entire data set, the Q1, which is the median of the lower half of the data set, in other words, the lower values, and the Q3. And the Q3 is the median of the upper half of the data set. Okay, so those are the values that we need. From our last video, as you know, we have already calculated the median, which was 8. We know the smallest number, which is 5. We know the largest number, which is 14. And now all we have to do is calculate the lower half median and the upper half median. So I'm going to write the number that is my median here and circle it. It's not part of our data set, but it is a number that is very valuable and we need to know it. So now we have 4 data points that are less than 8, and the median of that is between 6 and 7. So just like in figuring this median, you're going to go 6 plus 7 over 2, which is 13 divided by 2, which equals 6.5. So our median of our lower half is equal to 6.5. And then we're going to have a median of the upper half. Again, there are 4 data points, so the median of these 4 is again between 11 and 12. So you're going to add those divided by 2, and you will end up with 11.5. So my upper half median is 11.5, okay? So we've got that. Now we're ready to build our box plot. And so the box plot is put above a number line. And in this case, we're going to label our number line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And we don't need any more than that because our largest number is 14. And we put our box plot above the line. You could also do a box plot on a vertical. I like the horizontal better, but vertical works as well. So my first number of my 5 number summary is my 5. So I'm going to put a line where my 5 is. My largest number in my summary is 14. So I'm going to put a line here where 14 is. Okay? Question on that? No questions. Okay. Let's go on. Now let's put our median. Our median is 8. So here is 8, and that is a big line. And that is our Q2. The Q1 is 6.5. Well, here's 6 and 7, so 6.5 is right here. 6.5, and that is Q1. Q3 is 11.5. So 11.5 is about right here. And that's Q3. And that one is 11.5. Now we connect the box at the bottom and the top. And that gives you the box plot, and then the whisker on the upper end and the whisker on the lower end. This also builds quartiles because it divides your data into 4 segments. And so each one of those segments contains 25% of the data. So this lower segment right here contains 25%. This segment contains 25%. This contains 25%. And this one contains 25% of the data. If I were to ask you how much of the data lies between the Q1 and the Q3, well, 25 and 25 makes 50% of the data. So we see that it divides it very nicely into 4 sections. But the size of those quartiles, as far as the size of the rectangle and the whisker, are not the same. As you see, the median here is really close to this beginning number, whereas from here to that one is quite a bit farther apart. And so it shows that data either gets bunched up or it kind of spreads itself out as it did in the upper part. So we have a lot going on here with this data, and what's happening to it. It is each one is a quartile, and each one is very important. So that is what it shows. Another thing it might show is an outlier. For example, if this here had been all the way up to 20, that would have shown that we had an outlier up here that was really way away from the rest of the bulk of the data. And so an outlier can also show up on a box plot. But one thing to remember about a box plot, it doesn't use anything but the medians. It doesn't use the mean, it doesn't use the mode, it only uses the median. And so you can only build them with medians, and you have to be accurate in your medians. If you're not accurate, your box plot will not be accurate either. And as you notice, the line underneath is important because it gives you an even spacing on all your numbers, so you can really see how that box plot is placed and the size of each section. So it's really important that you look at that. Okay, so this is what you're doing with box plots.